let's talk about one of my favorite subjects to argue with, right, or argue about, and that is firearms for home defense. The reason why I love arguing about this is because a lot of people do not think it through. A lot of people, for whatever reason, and I'm pretty sure it's the old movies and stuff, and it's the old school mentality, they think, hey, listen, I got my grandpappy shotgun. If you just hear chink, chink, you're just gonna be scared and run away. That's not the case, all right? Again, you look at statistics, you know, when do most break-ins occur? Between 10 a.m. and 3 o'clock Monday through Friday. Why? Because most people are at work. Now, let's say somebody breaks into your house at 1 in the afternoon. Do you even have granddaddy shotgun ready? I mean, do you even have it? Because it's probably up in your bedroom, and it's probably behind your door or laying right next to your bed, right? And I guarantee you don't have it sitting next to your living room while you're watching Good Morning America and you're sipping on your coffee, right? So are you actually ready? I mean, are you gonna be able to grab grandpappy shotgun and go up there and do what you need to do? Probably not. So let's think about this, and let's think about this logically, right? There have been many tests done through a medium like drywall, right? There have not been many tests done that go through drywall 2x4s, wiring, the circuit things, the fucking plug-in deals, the switches on and off. A lot of people don't take the time to put all those together. I've only done it once, and we did a few different kinds of rounds on it. So let's say you have to take a shot in a not perfect world where you have to where it's going to go through the wall. Do you know what your round's going to do? Because most people are like, well, my granddaddy shotgun, I want to put me some double lock buck in there, and that's going to happen, right? You leave it. That's not. Do you even know what happens? What if it goes through the wall? What's on the other side of the wall? I mean, have you really thought this through, right? My personal take on it is, what do you need to do? Who's living in your house? Is it just you? Is it you and a wife? You and a roommate? Or do you have kids? Do you have 2 or 3 kids? Are your kids in diapers? Can they walk? Can they talk? Can they, shoot firearms? Can they dial 911? Like, there's a lot that goes into this, right? So let's just pretend that you have a wife and you have 2 kids. You have a toddler and then a baby that can't walk yet. All right? Okay. So you are in charge of doing everything, right? Whether you're the man or the woman, it doesn't matter. You're in charge of doing everything. How are you going to do that? Think about it. What are you going to do? Are you going to come running out of your bedroom, again at 3 o'clock in the morning? You're going to come running out of your bedroom and start blasting everybody? Are you going to pull a Joe Biden and just pump 2 rounds into your ceiling? I'm not. What are you going to do, right? Let's pretend 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear a bump in the night, you hear windows break downstairs, and you're upstairs. What do? Well, do you need to manipulate a weapon with one hand so you can grab your kid? Or do you can, maybe grab a kid, maybe drag a kid with you, maybe push your wife back or husband back into the bedroom and say, stay here, I'll be back, Do you need that one-handed manipulation? Because grandpappy shotgun probably requires 2 hands, okay? Now, have you thought about the confined space that you're in? Because if you're gonna use a bird gun that is this long, are you gonna be able to wield that around corners and in bedrooms? Are you gonna use a stub nose 357? Because it's a one-handed manipulation. The thing hardly ever jams. If you run dry, you can use it as a sledgehammer. Like, have you thought about all this? Or are you gonna use a Glock 19? that you can manipulate with one hand. You can put a 33 round mag in there if you need to. You know, all this stuff, you can add flashlights, lasers, you know, red dots. You can add all this stuff to all these new weapons now. Or are you more of an AR-15 kind of guy? Okay, are you using 18, 16, 12, 10, 8-inch barrels? Are you using 300 blackout or 5.56? You know, are you gonna have to take shots, you know, long distance? Probably not, because if the dude left your house, you're probably not gonna shoot him, because if you do, you're more than likely gonna go to jail for that. Unless he has like your kid or something. But if he just has like a TV and he runs outside and you shoot the dude, you're probably gonna go to jail. So let's brush up on some laws before we get crazy, right? So in my train of thought, the longest shot I'm ever gonna have to take is 25 feet, okay? That's not that far. It's not, okay? More than likely, if you do go to the range and you do shoot on a regular basis, you know, 7 to 10 yards away is not that far, and you could probably make consistent headshots at that distance, right? That means at that distance here, you can at least hit center mass, okay, in the upper thoracic. Now, you could probably do that with a pistol, you can do the rifle, or you can do it with a shotgun. Now, can you shoot a pistol one-handed? Hopefully, right? Pretty easily. Can you shoot an AR one-handed? Yeah, you can. Can you shoot a shotgun one-handed? If you have to. What would you rather shoot one-handed if you need one hand? Let's say bad guy's got a gun and he shoots you, so now you have to shoot one hand, right? Personally, I'd rather use a pistol. Now, again, this is all a situation where, you know, you're in a suburb, right? In a cul-de-sac, and there's neighbors all around. What kind of ammo are you going to use? Are you using full metal jacket ammo? Are you using, you know, what else we got? Hollow points? Are you using the fragmentation ammo? I mean, there's 1,000 different kinds of ammo out there. And are you going to use subsonic so it doesn't go as far? Like, what are you using, okay? If you're going to do this and you're going to do it right, you have to think it through. You have to. Not only that, let's you know, one thing I ask everybody about firearms is, if you're going to use your grandpappy shotgun, can you manipulate that gun, i.e. reload, malfunction, do all that stuff in your underwear at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're fucking scared to death and you can't see very well? Can you do that? If you say yes, I can, by all means use grandpappy shotgun, okay? Somebody like my father, who grew up shooting 12 gauges, and that's pretty much all he's ever shot his whole life. But that dude can shoot skeet or duck or pheasants or anything out of the sky any day of the week. 10 out of 10. You know what? A shotgun for my dad, boom, 100%. Are you a dude that maybe you were in the military for a few years and all you really know is like an AR platform? You never really shot a shotgun, or you never really played with a pistol? I would go AR. Are you that dude that grew up with pistols but you never really got into rifles or anything? Pistols for you. Are you that super well-rounded guy that is just awesome and you know everything? Hey, you know, dealer's choice, right? But make sure you have the right tool for the job. If you have to scoop a kid up and you have a shotgun, a pump-action shotgun in one hand, and you shoot, then what? All right? Let's think about this all the way through. And whenever I say that, inevitably everybody wants to argue. Well, I'm ding-a-dang, fucking dang-a-dang. You're fucking stupid. Just sit down and think about it without using any emotions. Without using any emotions, think about what tool you're going to need for the job. If that's the right tool for you, then by all means use it. Know your tools, know your laws, okay? Know your distances in your house, know your foreground and your background. Know where you can and cannot shoot for the rounds that you are using, okay? If you know that AR or that, you know, pistol that you're using will go through 8 things of drywall and into your neighbor's house, know where you can and can't shoot with it, all right? Know what the backstops are. And all that stuff, to me, should be common knowledge. Maybe it's not to you because maybe you never even thought about it that way. And that's perfectly fine. You know, that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing, all right? So take a minute, take a pregnant pause. Even if you're watching this on a Tuesday, go home and look around your house and be like, all right, so if somebody broke in, where do I think they would break in from? Where's the most likely avenue of approach for the bad guy? It's probably going to be here. Okay, cool. If they broke in at noon, where would I be? If they broke in at 3 a.m., where would I be? If they broke in at 7 a.m., where would I be? And then go through that. Where would the kids be? Where would my wife be, right? Do I have my phone on me? Because what's the most important thing? Calling 911, right? So if you hear a bump in the night, you tell the wife, call 911, and you go downstairs, does the wife know what to tell 911? Does she know what you're wearing? Does she know that she needs to tell them, hey, we heard glass break, my husband went downstairs and he's got a gun with him. That way the cops know that good guy has a gun. Because if the cops get there and you have a gun, the cops don't know who the bad guy or the good guy is, okay? We don't have this like awesome teleportation thing where we can see into the future and be like, oh yes, that is the good guy. It doesn't work that way. They roll up on a scene, they see a dude with a gun, you're overly excited, somebody just broke into your house, you're fucking just going crazy, and the cops are like, put the fucking gun down. And you're like, but wait, I'm a good guy. And you don't put the gun down, then what happens? Bad shit happens, that's what happens, all right? One easy fix you can do for your security is like a deadbolt here. When you take this screw out, you can inspect it. How big is it? Does it actually go into the frame of the door? Does it go through there? Or does it just kind of hit, is it an inch long? It just kind of hits the first board, okay? If you look at these two, obviously one's bigger than the other. One's gonna go all the way in, all the way to the frame, okay? All the way to the studs. So you take that, simple fix. You put that all the way in. Do that to all four of those. Super simple, super easy, and it's only gonna cost you a few bucks. And this right here is gonna help you tremendously if somebody does try to kick in your door. An often overlooked thing, security in your own house, is how long your throw is. By your throw, I mean, how long is this? How long is your deadbolt? A lot of deadbolts are not very long. And if you look at it, how far does that actually go into the wood? Not that far. So one hard kick, you could probably blow this whole small piece of the frame out. Okay, if you get a deadbolt that's about 2 to 3 inches long, that's gonna go all the way deep in the frame. And if you replace the screws, like I said before, you'll get a lot more security and a lot more peace of mind. Cameras are a great thing that is super cheap to put in your house nowadays. On this house in particular, we're looking here as a front door camera and a driveway camera. That's gonna cover mostly the whole front of your house. And we can also add additional cameras. You can do the side, we can do the back. That way you can get a 360 degree security all the way around your house. Not only do cameras aid in seeing what's going on while you're home, you can also just use an app and see what's going on when you're away. Not only that, you can help identify people if they do break in, if they do steal your stuff. This also calls the police, calls the fire if something happens to your house. So a simple addition of a home security system can go well beyond just cameras. So now we've talked about how to kind of prevent a burglar from casing your house, what they're going to be looking for, what you should look for, a couple little things to do to get them to deter your house. We've talked about, when it's going to happen, tools of the trade, call 911, making a plan, things like that. One thing you hear all the time is, I got a dog, my dog would just get him, right? Well, unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, most times, dogs will not bite somebody. It's just the case. For 10,000 years, we have turned these animals. We've turned these animals into, man's best friend, right? Well, man's best friend doesn't really bite him. Okay, so a lot of dogs, unless they're very well trained, they aren't gonna bite somebody. Yeah, they'll bark and they may look scary, but when it comes down to it, they probably won't bite somebody. Frick. Okay, even her, right? She is not super highly trained. She's only like 6 months old, but she's a Belgian Malinois, and her breed in itself is known for biting people, right? They're known to be crazy ass dogs that like to bite things. Oh, good girl. Yeah. And while she has had a little bit of training in bite work, again, she's only 6 months old, so I wouldn't expect her to bite somebody if they came in and hold them until I got there. For them, you know, even though they're like a protection dog and stuff like that, it's still not in their nature just to go off and bite people, okay? We have kids that come over all the time, and all she wants the kids to do is play with her. She goes and grabs a toy and tries to give it to the kids and gets the kids to play with her. Come here. She right now, oh, come here. Oh, look here, see? Right now, ow, stop. She is more of a lover than a fighter. I mean, again, she's only 6 months old. She's still just a puppy, and all she wants to do is play. Now, her version of playing is biting me, but all she wants to do is play. But what she does do good is if she hears something, she does bark, she does growl, and she does take off towards whatever it is, okay? When she gets there, she doesn't really know what to do quite yet. She has to, you know, assess it, and she doesn't quite know how to make out certain noises. So like if a kid runs in the house real quick, she gets freaked out. She starts running towards the kid, and then one of my kids is like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, sorry." And again, she's just a puppy, you know? So don't expect your dog, no matter what kind of dog it is, whether it's a Malinois, whether it's a Doberman or a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd or a Pit Bull, any dog like that. They're not wired to bite humans because they're man's best friend. So if you haven't trained them, don't expect them to do that. You can expect them to bark, and you can expect them to be a deterrent, but do not expect them to, you know, bite and subdue and hold somebody down unless you've actually trained them for it, okay? So we talked about the guns, right? The sexy stuff. Let's talk about other things. One of the most popular things people have is a baseball bat. For whatever reason, they keep it behind their door, waiting for trouble. Have you ever tried swinging your baseball bat inside your house? Like, honestly? Because baseball bats are long and they're kind of big, and if you actually you were gonna actually hit a baseball and take a step and swing it, you're probably gonna hit like 4 or 5 things. Not only that, baseball bats are only good for, the last 6 inches of the bat. If somebody gets in close, you can't use the bat. If you swing and miss and they grab you, then you're kind of screwed, right? So I don't think I would choose a baseball bat personally for a self-defense tool. Let's talk about knives. Some people use knives. If you are a knife fighter or you have been trained in the art of knife fighting, then I would say, okay, like you're probably really good at knife fighting. If you're not, then I would say maybe you ought to brush up on those skills before you use a knife as a weapon. Let's talk about hatchets or battle axes. So first of all, if you go out to a fight and you're wielding like 2 battle axes, you're pretty fucking cool, and you get like 10 cool points. First and foremost. Now, that's pretty awesome. And your assailant is probably going to be scared shitless and wondering what is going on in his life that some naked dude just came running downstairs with 2 battle axes in his hands. Pretty cool. But honestly, if you don't know how to use a battle axe to fight, then you should probably not do that. The last thing is a samurai sword. Unless you are a Miyamoto Musashi, you probably should not use a samurai sword. He was like the best swordsman ever, so you're probably not him. I mean, granted, again, the cool factor, like if you run downstairs butt naked with a samurai sword, like that's pretty cool. But you probably don't know how to use it. So, in conclusion, one of the best things you can do is call 911 and honestly, not even, go after the people that are breaking in. It's one of those things of, is the juice worth the squeeze? And sometimes it probably is, and sometimes it's not. If you are by yourself with 2 small children, the juice is probably not worth the squeeze because you don't want to get your kids hurt. If you are a professional fighter, then maybe it's worth the squeeze, and you're gonna go down there and you're gonna make sure nobody touches and hurts your family. Like, cool, right? So just kind of think about all that stuff. So at the end of the day, always ask yourself, are you an asset or a liability?